Lord of Mysteries 2, Circle of Inevitability. Chapter 123, Organizer. Lumion initially planned to scope out Mason Cafe before noon to ensure he'd know where to escape after his treatment the following day. However, the incident with Baron Brignaise had significantly delayed him. He had no choice but to find Asta Trier first and visit the Quartier du Jardin Botanique later in the afternoon. Asta was in his usual spot, by the entrance to the catacombs, a bonfire flickering against a stone pillar. The sound of footsteps approaching caught Asta's attention, and he looked up from under his black hooded robe. Expecting to make a quick buck, he instead froze in place. Quickly recovering, he stood up and forced a smile. Before Lumion could speak, Asta preempted him, saying, "I contacted the organizer this morning, told him I have a friend who's into mysticism and wants to attend the gathering. He hasn't replied yet." Lumion nodded, not questioning how Asta had reached out to the organizer. He walked over to the bonfire, found a rock, and sat down. Casually, he asked, "You've duped plenty of people, but you're always in the same spot. Aren't you scared they'll track you down?" Asta laughed and replied, "Most of the time, it's not really deception. As a true beyonder and secret suppliant, using my spirituality to perform divination for them isn't a scam. My predictions are far more accurate than most in the Mysticism Club. Sometimes, different folks need different strokes. If I'm ever exposed, I can always talk my way out." "How?" Lumion inquired with a smile. Asta coughed. "The key is to not be too clear or absolute from the start. That way, you can accuse them of misunderstanding your intentions." Lumion's smile deepened. "When it came to the Samaritan Women's Spring, you agreed too easily and made your promise too definite." Asta's expression fell. "Yeah, I was cornered by Baron Brignaise. I just wanted the money right away. The right approach would have been to say I had a solution, but it was difficult to achieve. After you begged me repeatedly, I'd reluctantly accept your cash, warning I couldn't guarantee success." Evidently, Asta had pondered his mistakes the previous night, considering how to avoid risks if he had to start over. He grew more animated as he spoke, only stopping when he noticed Lumion's subtle grin. How could he openly tell this dangerous man how to swindle him? Asta awkwardly smiled and said, "But I doubt this would have fooled you either. You're the most cautious person I've ever met." Lumion smiled and shook his head. "You really picked the wrong pathway." Asta didn't dare to carry on. Instead, he asked, "I thought about it last night. I never mentioned gatherings when we talked. I just said I bought the potion's main ingredient. How do you know it was a mysticism gathering?" Lumion chuckled. "It was just a gut feeling." Internally, he criticized, "Aren't there only two possibilities? Either a one-on-one deal or a gathering. There was at least a 50% chance of guessing right. It was just a casual comment. No harm done if I was wrong." Asta stared at Lumion, increasingly fearful. It was becoming harder to guess this dangerous man's sequence. He appeared skilled in combat, possessed strong spirituality, and had an intuition bordering on precognition. Lumion savored the warmth of the bonfire and offhandedly asked, "How did you get involved with the mysticism gathering?" Asta's face took on a nostalgic expression. "Everyone comes to Trier with hope. Painters dream of having their works chosen by the world's artists' exhibition, but most fail. Every year, some succumb to madness or suicide. Poor authors living in cheap apartments hope to replicate the success of bestsellers like Aurora and Meniere, but they end up selling their stories to small newspapers. They're forced to bear scathing reviews like trite, mediocre, and cliché. Many of them have even stooped to writing smut for underground booksellers, risking arrest by detectives. Over a decade ago, I came to Trier from Cecilis Province, eager to make a fortune. I lived in a leaky attic, climbed scaffolding, worked in factories, smuggled illegal books, and sold soda. I made some money, but with each passing year, I realized I'd never be rich. Owning a home and enjoying leisurely mornings before work were impossible dreams. Eventually, I discovered mysticism magazines like Psychic and Mysteries. Perhaps I still fantasized about gaining superpowers overnight and changing my fate, So I started attending gatherings with fellow enthusiasts. Those magazines would publish the relevant information. Earlier this year, a friend from the group asked if I wanted to join a gathering with real Beyonder powers. I couldn't refuse. You know the rest. Lumion listened without interrupting Asta's account. When Asta finished, Lumion asked, "Is that friend the gathering's organizer?" "No." Asta shook his head. "The organizer goes by Mr. K. He always wears a massive hood, practically covering his entire face." Mr. K. Lumion committed the code name to memory and pondered for a moment. "What abilities has he shown?" Asta shook his head again. "I've never seen any. But after becoming a secret suppliant, I sensed I was facing shadows and deep darkness when meeting him. I think he's very powerful." "He seems powerful. I wonder who's stronger, him, the Padre, or Madame Pualis?" Lumion mused before asking curiously, "Did you sense anything special around me?" Asta hesitated before admitting, "No, but your dangerous aura frightens me more than even Baron Brignay's." Lumion glanced at his left chest and smiled. "That's good." Asta was taken aback, not understanding Lumion's meaning. Lumion changed the subject. "Have you heard of the Monseur's ghost?" "Of course." As a con artist posing as a warlock, Asta knew many stories about underground Trier. Legend has it that an evil spirit lurks in this dark, vast underground. It always travels alone, never seeming to reach its destination. Those who encounter the ghost either die instantly or suffer mysterious deaths along with their families within the year. Those who've claimed to see the Monseur's ghost went mad and died within a year. I've heard both church factions sent experts to search for the spirit, but they found nothing. It sounds plausible. Lumion didn't inquire further. Standing, he told Asta, "I'll catch up with you tomorrow night or the following morning." "All right." Though Asta didn't believe Lumion would harm him now, he couldn't help but sigh with relief at the departure of the dangerous man. No ordinary human could feel at ease around a tiger. On his way back to the surface, Lumion carried the carbide lamp and passed by the entrance to the catacombs. Once again, he saw the arch adorned with white bones, sunflowers, and steam symbols. Looking at the words, "Stop! The Death Empire lies ahead," Lumion cautiously approached the natural doorway separating the inner and outer chambers. Suddenly, a figure emerged from behind the stone arch and bellowed, "Halt!" The figure donned a blue vest and yellow pants. He was an elderly man with gray hair and wrinkled skin. His light yellow eyes, slightly clouded, locked onto Lumion. "Can I go in?" Lumion feigned the innocence of a foreigner. The old man scrutinized him. "You need to purchase a ticket upstairs and bring a white candle with you. I have a friend buried inside." "Do I need to buy a ticket to pay my respects?" Lumion fabricated a friend on the spot. The old man eyed him suspiciously. "Don't tell me you're one of those Quartier de la Cathedral commemorative college students? Those troublemakers always concoct lies to sneak into the tomb. They sing, dance, and feast in the ossuary." "Fine, go in. Just remember to bring lit white candles like them. That's my only demand." Lumion once worried that if he attended university, he'd be too different from his classmates. Now, it seemed his concerns were unfounded. Those students were even wilder than he was. "All right." Lumion feigned disappointment. "I'll bring a white candle next time." The old man nodded, relieved. Lumion turned and followed the restored path to the stairs leading to the surface. Over 100 meters away, he suddenly spotted a black shadow from the corner of his eye. The shadow hunched slightly, shuffling behind a row of stone pillars on the left. Lumion glanced over and noticed its intangibility, as if it were almost illusory. Instinctively, he raised the carbide lamp, casting a bluish-yellow glow. The shadow disappeared, as though it had never existed. Lumion quickly scanned the surroundings but found nothing. Is it an illusion or an underground ghost? As Lumion pondered, he suddenly wondered, could it be the Monseur's ghost? Did I encounter the Monseur's ghost? His pupils widened, and his expression grew unusually grave. Moments later, Lumion erupted into laughter, nearly doubling over. He laughed until tears threatened to spill from his eyes. Ha ha, come on, come at me! I want to see how you'll kill my entire family and how you'll cause my mysterious death!